3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Hello and welcome to Dialogue Alley, a podcast about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical. I'm Erik.
And I'm Melanie.
And we are Harry Potter book translation collectors, which means we collect Harry Potter books in different translations. I feel like it's the most explanatory description of us, yet we always add the description of it
Just in case. Just in case you're new
what does
here
it mean to
and
be
you
a
don't
Harry
know.
Potter book? What does it mean to be a Harry Potter book translation collector? Well, my friend, we collect Harry Potter book translations. Oh,
That's it.
well, thank you for clarifying. Thank you for clarifying.
There you go. That's it. That's exactly
So even
what
if there's
we
a
do.
translation of a Harry Potter book, you collect it? Yes, we do. That is the answer.
Yeah, and sometimes there are even other Harry Potter books that we might collect as well that might not necessarily be translations. We're actually going to talk about some of those in our episode today.
We are, because there are so many different Harry Potter books around the world, and so many even here in our home nation of the United States of America.
Yeah. And these
How
books,
about that?
I can't believe we haven't talked about these books really. I feel like only in passing. We've never officially chatted about these books, but today is the day.
I know, it is the day. So this is season 3, episode 41. It's also episode 99, which is exciting because while this episode is exciting, the next episode, episode 100, we have something really exciting planned. I was so excited I could barely talk about it. I kind of tripped over my words there, but it is so exciting. I don't know. Do we tell people? Did we already tell people, or do we want to just?
Here's what I'm going to say is that as of this date in which we are recording this current episode, which is episode 99, we have already recorded episode 100. We recorded it a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, and then 2 weeks ago. We've been doing little bits of it here and there because I feel like we've been hyping up, saying that we wanted to do something really special, and I think we hit the nail on the head. I think that's the best way that we could say it.
I agree. I mean, I guess I will say, if you like Harry Potter translations, you might really enjoy hearing us talk to someone special.
Yeah.
How about that?
So Stay tuned for that episode, because I think it's one of my favorite episodes that we've ever recorded. I think me, you, and Carly just had grins on our faces the entire time we recorded this episode, and it was just a very special episode for us. So we're pumped about it.
I agree. And if you're wondering where Carly is, Carly's traveling this week. We didn't just forget about Carly and not call her. No, she's traveling. I feel like all three of us, this is the time where we are all taking a trip. I'm about to take a trip. You're about to take a trip.
Yeah.
Carly's on a trip right now. So it's going to be nice that we've already had some stuff recorded that will come out for everybody. But before we get into too much more, we have... Yes?
Oh, I was just going to say, because actually I don't know if we really mentioned it in our 100th episode, but so this episode's going to come out. Our 100th episode is going to come out, and that's kind of going to be our finale for season 3. And then we'll be back in September for season 4 of this podcast. That's where we're going to start season 4, which is crazy.
It's crazy. If you're a Patreon supporter, you will get a bonus episode sometime in August also. Maybe even 2, depending how we're feeling. But yeah, it'll be a nice little break for us until we kick it back into gear in September.
Woohoo! Just like the Hogwarts students.
Just like the Hogwarts students. We're going to get on that train and toot toot back into action. All right. But speaking of back into action, I don't even think we need a little segue here, but I'm going to mention 2 quick news items. The first one is that I finally bought a book and it came in the mail. And we'll talk about it later because it is our translation of the show this episode.
I'm so excited that you finally got this book, because I know
I am too.
I've talked about this book quite a lot. I can't believe that we haven't done it for a tots yet, though, which is kind of crazy.
Nor can I. And this is one that I've been just sort of passively looking for. I'm not really looking, but when one was up for sale, I'm like, hey, I do need that book and I would like it. So we'll talk about that for the translation of the show. The other news is, as of when this episode airs, this past weekend was LeakyCon. So if anyone has gone to LeakyCon that is listening, we'd love to know what you thought of it, because we did not go. Obviously, we are here in our homes.
I want to know if anyone got to meet Elijah Wood and Sean Astin, because I saw that they were going to be at LeakyCon, and that would have been the thing I would have been like most excited for, and it has nothing to do with Harry Potter and everything to do with Lord of the Rings.
I know. The most excited thing at Harry Potter, a convention about Harry Potter, is people from Lord of the Rings, which in terms of like people poking fun at other fandoms, how many times have you heard people like, oh, I love Harry Potter, Gandalf's the best. You're like, he's not in Harry Potter.
Or so many people that think that Elijah Wood and Daniel Radcliffe are the same person because they look sort of alike. So it's like, oh my gosh, Elijah, I loved you as Harry Potter. No. Oh, no. But yeah, I would love to hear what, if anyone went, what they thought. I've been to a few LeakyCons in the past. I went to Boston, was the last one I went to. I went to it also in Orlando years ago. And yeah, it's definitely like a really cool experience, but I would love to see what others think of it as well.
Yeah, something that it would be super fun if we could go to as like exhibitors.
I wish they did it in New York. Like if they did it in New York, I would love to do like a panel. I'd be all about that.
Oh yeah, I would love that too. I'd fly out for that. Even somewhere easy for like both of us and like all three of us, really, like Chicago.
Well, it's in Chicago right now. That's where
I know.
That's where LeakyCon is this year.
But it didn't work out because that's why I said somewhere easy like Chicago. But we're all like going on trips, so we're not able to go.
I know. I feel it. Well, I feel like they do it this weekend all the time, except Boston was in like October or something. I don't know. I feel like if there was one in New York or something like that, that would be really cool. It's easy to travel here. So
where would they have it if it was there?
Maybe like I feel like I would say Javits Center, but that's like too big. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
where are the other convention centers? Is there a convention center attached to the new Islanders ice rink by the racetrack?
I have literally no idea. Oh, maybe they could do it at like we have like Nassau Coliseum out here. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
But it's not. I don't think it's called Nassau Coliseum anymore. I don't know. They change things around here.
And it was when I went to a game there. It was hanging on for dear life last time.
Yeah, it still might be kind of.
It got renovated. It got renovated. To some extent.
It's a lot better. We saw. Actually, there's a really cool place now. Where was that? Where we saw like Disney on Ice, and it was really cool. I was like, I don't know Nassau County as well as I know Suffolk County. I live out by the farms, so like I don't know what goes on with these city folk.
Oh, the city folk.
Them city folk.
But really, that's all the news we have. So, not a huge news week, except LeakyCon, and I got a book, and we're going to talk about it. But before we talk about the book that I got, we're going to talk about some other books that we haven't talked about in 99 episodes. So let's actually talk about them so we can check that off of our list.
Segment today, we are going to be talking about some really cool books that I happen to collect that are super cool. If you are a Harry Potter book collector, you really like US books, you're looking for something kind of cool and different, and you're doing it on a budget, these books are awesome to have, and just such a cool like mini collection within my collection of Harry Potter books. So what I'm talking about are library bound books. There are so many different ones that were done by so many different companies. I was just saying to Eric before, I have 7 different ones, and which is crazy. 7's such a magical number because there's 7 Harry Potter books.
Magical number. Ooh.
But they're all just so different, and I feel like this is a cool topic to talk about as well because I feel like there are books that people ask questions about a lot. They might like post pictures of these books and say, hey, I've got this weird Harry Potter book. It's a hardcover, but it's really small, like a paperback. What is it? Is it worth anything? I'll tell you.
We'll tell you. But we'll tell you first, Melanie. We'll tell you what a library-bound book is.
Sure.
Because
let me get right into that. Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about will explain that really well. So this first book is a bit of an outlier in comparison to my other library-bound books because it looks like a standard Harry Potter book. It has nice little jacket. This one even has like a price on the jacket. But you will notice that when you flip from page to page, it's a bit stiffer. It's kind of a bit more challenging to flip the pages. Like you can feel resistance when you do that. And that's because for library-bound books, they made it with sturdiness in mind, let's just say. Because if you think about it, if you're borrowing books from the library, it's going in a different kid's hand from week to week. Kids are rough with library books. It just is the nature of the beast. So these books in particular were bound super, super well. The quality of the spine and the binding are pretty like unmatched, I would say, to other Harry Potter books. They're just so ridiculously sturdy. So this first book that I have in my hands that I was saying looks just like a standard copy of a Harry Potter book. If you flip inside, it specifically says Reinforced Library Edition. And this book, it is important to note that you might see earlier print runs of this book, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a first print. It's definitely not. This one particularly, it has a $17.95 price tag on it, which that isn't a point for first edition, first printing. It has that phrase Reinforced Library Edition on the inside. Mine also says that it was printed November of 2003, which we know is several years past when it was originally printed. Several, quite a few. And it also, where it gets confusing is my number line, like in this, mine is a second print Reinforced Library Edition, which is kind of cool, but I wouldn't want people to think that this is a second printing, like a first edition second printing, So
I know. Oh, I know.
That's where things kind of get confusing. But it also, another like telltale sign that this isn't like a first print is the barcode on the back of this edition is a red barcode. And I'm not 100% certain on how that is with all Reinforced Library Editions of this type, but I just know that that's how mine is. But there
again, we just had that episode about like, is your American Harry Potter book worth something? There are like even that one that looks like it could be like, even if it was a first print of that edition, still lots of tells on the specific book that say this is not a first print, first edition, Scholastic American Harry Potter book of Sorcerer's Stone, right? Like you just said, it says right on there, Reinforced Library Edition.
Right. That's what's
it's right on there.
That's the key telltale that it is not a first edition, first printing, a 1/1.
Right.
But I can see where people could get confused. But that's why it's good to ask questions. Take pictures, ask questions, all sorts of things like that. All in all, though, super cool book. And if you are a person that is like reading these books with your kids, or you just know that your kids are going to handle your books, I know that every so often I catch Nora on like my lower shelves of my bookcases and freak out because I'm like, don't touch the books. But this book is a really good one if she wanted to take a flip through. Also because It really isn't that valuable. And like I was saying earlier on, if you wanted to collect on a budget, like these books are like under $10. Like I feel like they're really, really inexpensive to try to track these down. So that's always really cool. One of my other favorite things about these books is typically they'll have like a library stamp in them because they're being sold from a library. So you can kind of see where they were from. So this one is from Phoenix, Arizona. It's from Raul H. Castro Middle School. Shout out to them, because I have your Harry Potter book, guys. Amazing.
Let's hope they got another one to take its place. I
hope so. So yeah, I feel like that's like the first library bound book. The first book that kind of like introduced me to these types of books was called a permabound. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of a permabound?
Yes. Permabound.
Permabound.
If it sounds like the word permanent is in there.
Yeah, that's it. Permanently bound, baby.
Permanently bound. It's never coming unbound.
This will never become unbound because it's
do
perma.
Your worst, reader.
It's like, read your heart out.
I dare you to read this book.
I dare you to read it. Read it hard. I saw this book years ago. There was a collector that I would watch his YouTube videos because he had so many different rare Harry Potter books that I had never seen. That was where I first saw the Scholastic School Market Edition. And he had one of these permabound Sorcerer Stones. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. I have to find one of those. Found it super easy for like $5 on eBay in awesome condition. So what's really cool about this is it is the size of a paperback, but it is hardcover. That's me knocking on it because it's a hardcover. And this one, unlike my other library bound books, has like that diamond patterning on the side, which we saw in like the early paperbacks, that like red and blue diamond patterning with the year 1 on it. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I'm looking over my shoulder because that book you're holding reminds me an awful lot of some of the translations we get that borrow the Grand Prix art that just doesn't have the dust jacket. It's just the hardcover with the art right on it. Even if it's not the Grand Prix art, but like there'll be like the one from Georgian, like that's in Norway. Like it's just bound right on the boards. It's not a jacket or anything. So like they exist. I feel like that style of book and how the art is adapted, it's not new if you're a translation collector. So, but it is new because that was never really, a thing that you could buy in the U.S. only if you're at the library.
Yeah. That's what I think is so cool about these is I feel like every single one has a story. It reminds me so much of like your Macedonian book, how it's kind of like falling apart. Like I know that this book, even though it looks like a little bit beat up and rough, it's because a bunch of kids probably read this book and then now it's retired on my shelves. But I think the permabound is probably my favorite of the library bound books that I have. I just love it. It's so cool.
It looks a lot like my large print US book, which I saw at a library the first time. Like it's bound the same way. It's just hardcover.
Yeah. But again, like
no jacket.
Really nice quality, bound super tight, super well, because it's meant to hold up. So that's really cool about this book.
Sometimes you see those like as like a classroom set of books. Sometimes like if a school wants to buy 30 books of the same one for, read alouds in a classroom, like they'll buy library books. So I've seen a lot of permabound books, not Harry Potter necessarily, but like at my school, they'll have like Number of the Stars. And it'll be all permabound books. And that's not a long book, but it'll be a hardcover, like permabound book because they want this Number of the Stars book, which you could probably read as an adult in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Great book, by the way, if you haven't read that one.
I haven't. Add it to my list.
Really?
My book list.
Oh, it's a great like kids book introduction to like the Holocaust through the eyes of like a similar age peer, like a
that's really interesting.
12-year-old girls. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
A pretty famous book. Shout out to Number the Stars. It's a good one.
Oh, all right. Well,
yeah.
I guess I'll write that down.
Write that down.
I'm always looking for more books. You know, it's because I don't have enough.
I mean, it's a young adult book. It's not like it's going to enthrall you, but it's a good book.
That's okay. Sometimes, listen, I've been listening to Lord of the Rings. They have been stuck in Fangorn Forest for what feels like 50,000 years. And Treebeard just talks so slow. And the book is going so slow. I'm like, please, for the love of everything that is good in this world, I just need to get past this part. It's driving me nuts. Like, because I know what happens in like Lord of the Rings. I've seen the movie 1,000 times. Like, I think I did the books years and years, like probably 20 years ago is the last time I attempted these books. But oh my God, sometimes you just need a nice, easy read, like some like Harry Potter books,
like Number the Stars, a Newbery Award-winning novel by Lois Lowry.
All right, like I said, I'll add it to my list.
The kids just like it because it's got a shiny gold sticker on the front. They're like, ooh.
Oh, I always went for those as a kid. I get it.
I know. Okay. Anyway, what's our next? What's our next book?
All right. So it's cool, kind of like rediscovering these because all of like the companies that bind these books, they're like the companies are kind of written right on there. So I'm kind of starting to see. So this one was done by Everbind. It's another hardcover. This one has like a bit of a border around it, which is cool. It's like a light grayish color. That one's cool.
Kind of reminds me of the German book club editions, actually, with that border.
Yeah, so neat, right? So it has the Mary Grand Prix art, but it has like this gray, light gray border all the way around.
What's the little yellow sticker on the front? There's like a little tag on the bottom right.
Everbind Books.
Oh, wow. What a logo. Just slap that right across the iconic art.
Just right on there. Everbind Books.
On there. Cool.
Also, did you see as I pointed that Nora painted my nails? Did you see she did a really good job?
I did.
So pretty.
Great.
So pretty.
70% of all your nails were painted.
Listen.
And 25% of the rest of your hand was painted.
It was all over my hands. Yeah, I finally got that off. This next one, this one is a first print of this edition. It was done by Penworthy Pre-Bound Library Books. And this one's cute. I like that it has like the book blurb on the back with like this big purple border. But this one has a white spine and a white border. So that one's really cute.
Looks to me just like a template that they would use for many books. That company would just take the art and stick it right on their little border template with the back and frame it with their stock color and just
1,000%. This one,
pump them out.
This one, the texture of it literally brings me back to like elementary school, picking out books from the library and like feeling that like almost like bumpy texture. It's just so good. I was like, ooh, this says Harry Potter on it. I'm going to take this book out. So cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what the companies are for these next ones, but I have 3 more that are all kind of similar. Actually, it's crazy that they're all similar, but they're all different from each other. Like they're clearly done by 3 different companies. So this one has like a purple border on the front and a maroon border on the back. I'm wondering if it says the company anywhere that bound it.
Well, in general, the way the books are made are not going to be drastically different because it's the same purpose for making the books in this fashion. It's to be durable and to be like easy to hold and read. So
totally. I think one thing that's like kind of cool about these is they use the book plates, like not book plates, the whatever that the press plates that they. Know what I'm talking about? Like it's the same for a paperback book. So they use the same paper. or the same typed whatever. Carly would know the word if I said it. Like it's.
You mean the copyright page?
Yeah, the copyright page is the same as what it would be for a paperback book. Like this says for Scholastic Trade paperback printing, even though obviously this isn't a paperback, it's a hardcover library book.
Right, so it's the paperback book with a hardcover cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
typeset? I don't know. Carly
I don't know. Carly would know the word. Like it's a specific word. I don't know. Ooh, this one is super like solid as well. That's what the thing is like these clearly the spines have like been cracked, but like they're bound so well because they're meant to be read over and over and over and over and over again. They're meant to hold up really well. So they do. And this book she's an oldie. Bernie Middle School Library. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
That's where that one's from.
Oh, you got a stamp right on the top.
Has a cute little stamp on the top. So that's really neat. This one has like the full image. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, you have a stamp. I love a good stamp. Yeah, this one is like the exact imaging, front and back. And then so is my last one, except that this one, the colors are completely different. Like this has really light coloring, and this one has really bold coloring. But they look like they could almost be the same book.
Yeah, and both of them have the Harry Potter word on the front, not in gold. It is in sort of a gray,
silvery kind of
a silver attempt.
Yeah, these ones almost could have been done by the same company, except that like this one has a periwinkle spine, this one has a navy spine. Like they look like, but everything else about them is exactly the same except for like the coloring. But still really cool. I love the variations between all of them. I love that every single one is different. I love that everyone cost me probably less than $5. And you literally just have to type like Harry Potter Library Edition into eBay and these pop up all the time. People are always selling them.
Now I kind of want one.
Aren't they so cool?
Right?
I feel like
for $5.
I know. I feel like they're so cheap. They're
on
so
eBay,
neat.
That's so easy.
Yeah, really easy. I would say my favorite out of these is the permabound. I just think that it's super cool. And I guess just as like a last note to be a bit informational, just if you have a hardcover Harry Potter book with no jacket, that's the size of a paperback, it's probably a library edition, and it's probably not worth much.
So or if you have a hardcover Harry Potter book that has no jacket and it's the picture of the cover on the front, right? That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah,
it's
like
got the image on the front, but there's no dust jacket.
Right. But these are also small. Like if you look at like a regular size Harry Potter book, like these are quite small in comparison.
Yeah, it's like someone took a paperback book and like dropped it into the carbonite machine.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
City in the Clouds, Bespin.
I think that I just
is it Bespin?
I'm pretty sure.
I am.
Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I have to now because I said something. Yeah, it's on Bespin. Someone is gonna be like, it's actually.
You were making me.
City in Clouds.
You were making me second guess myself, and I was like, wait, I know Star Wars things.
Fun fact: I watched all 3 original Star Wars movies on Laserdisc for my first viewing.
That's super fun.
How about that?
Look at you. Look at you.
Laserdisc, and we only had the first 2, and to watch the third one, I had to wait like a couple months until we went to Wisconsin because my dad's cousin had the third one on Laserdisc, and like, oh, we'll just watch it when we get there.
There you go.
I'm like, but they froze Han Solo. I want to know what happened.
Oh
this
my gosh,
movie's
what a
been
cliffhanger.
out for years. I need to know.
What a cliffhanger.
I know, but there's like I didn't have internet access. I was a child, and so no one was just going around. It wasn't like it was a hype. Like, oh yeah, by the way, like, you know what happens in Return of the Jedi? Like, no one's talking about that anymore. It was the 90s.
So silly. So yeah, I think I was just kind of saying that about like these books because like I said, we get asked quite often, like, is this Harry Potter book worth anything? That's like our number one most asked question is people will show a picture of their book. So just a general synopsis, like these books are not worth a lot, except that they're really cool and they can be really sentimental. So that's their worth to me.
And they tell the story of the book on the book. They usually tell the library they're from or the school they were at. Like that is cool. And that's what I really like about the books I have that either came from a library or I know that someone had read them. Like, that's just cool. Like, these books are meant to be read. All of our books are meant to be read. That's why they're in existence. So knowing that it brought joy to somebody, or maybe in the case of my Macedonian, it did not. And so they're like, I got to take out my anger on this poor book. But no, it's really cool. I love that they tell a story, and these library ones like definitely tell a story because they say where they're from.
Yeah, they're awesome. Super cool books. Another really cool book that we have to talk about is this phenomenal book that I've mentioned 1,000 times that Erik finally got, and it's our translation of the show.
So, for the translation of the show, this episode, we are going to cover a book that Melanie has mentioned many times. We've talked about it a few times in a few specific episodes. It was like actually featured. But mine is a little bit different than yours, to be honest.
No!
Because mine is softcover.
Mine's softcover too, but yours is missing my X Factor. Yours doesn't have my X Factor. I know it is.
That's why it was kind of interesting that I have this one. But I still wanted it for the cover. So
I know.
We'll talk about that in a moment. But the book that we are going to discuss is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in Vietnamese, the original version of that book, which does not have Mary Grand Pré art like the other 6. It goes Mary Grand Pré, Mary Grand Pré, not Mary Grand Pré, Mary Grand Pré, Mary Grand Pré, Mary Grand Pré. Why there's a knot, I don't know. Do we even know?
I don't know who did it, but I love that this book exists so much.
I do too, and that's why I wanted it. Do I have a Vietnamese Chamber of Secrets? No. Do I have a Vietnamese Goblet of Fire? Yes, actually I do. It's the UK signature edition. Someone brought it back to me from Vietnam.
Oh, that's really nice.
I don't have any other ones. I have some Sorcerer's Stone ones.
I have the cereals, but
and
I feel like that's completely different.
But I wanted this because of the art. We've talked about it many times. God, it's just, yours is so, that shine. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. But just a quick recap on Vietnamese in general. The translator of this book is Lee Lan. The publisher is a youth publishing house. And Vietnamese, for those that don't know, it's spoken in Vietnam. It's the national and official language of Vietnam. About 85 million people speak Vietnamese as a native language. A lot of people in the Twin Cities where I live speak Vietnamese. It's one of the languages that's usually posted on like things where you can change the language, I guess, like interactive kiosks and things. Aside from English and either Hindi or Tamil, they pick one or the other. Vietnamese, Somali, Hmong are usually the top languages they stick on there. And Khmer sometimes they put on too.
That's really cool.
But Vietnamese is usually on there. So really cool. A lot of native speakers of the language, and I guess that's it for the quick snapshot. But how would we say this book is for rarity and value? And I suppose
I would say rarity.
You go ahead.
Rarity, I would probably put it maybe at like between like a 2 and a 3. I would say like a 3. It's not like super hard to find it, but you have to like know what you're looking for in order to kind of track it down. And because it has unique cover art, I feel like a lot of times people aren't necessarily sure of what this book is. Value, Eric, I feel like you would be a good factor on the value considering you just bought yours.
I think under $50 with shipping. It's probably fair.
Yeah, I think I would say so. I would say maybe even a little less, maybe around 40.
I'm just noticing that I think mine is published by someone different than yours.
Really?
Does yours have that on the front?
Oh, yeah.
So with the, we've decided it's not really a rare book necessarily. I don't feel like a lot of people are looking for this book, but maybe you should be if you like kind of different things that, you know, you can talk about in your collection. Price, we just said under $50 with shipping would be fair for me. Like, that seems fine. I don't know why this would need to be sold for more than that.
Yeah.
But if you're getting it from Vietnam, it's going to be expensive to ship.
I definitely think that, like, I know for myself and, like, what I particularly collect, like, I like looking for unique cover art. And what's cool about this set is I had to have book 1 in Vietnamese, which has Mary Grand Prix cover art, but I don't necessarily need the whole set because it's all Mary Grand Prix cover art, except for this book is not. So that's why I needed this book. It's kind of like a really weird outlier book. And we have a few other... We have a few other translations where it has like unique cover art for just one book in the series, but it's never usually book 3. It's usually book 1 that we have that.
Right.
So that's why this book is super random,
but then
super
you
unique.
Get like Farsi, which is all unique art until you get to like book 7, and then it's just the UK art for book 7.
Yeah.
It's like the reverse of this almost.
Yeah, every so often you get like these weird random books, but that's what makes them so awesome. This was 100% a book I had to have.
Yeah. Well, let's see if other things of this book are awesome. So let's put it through our translation of the show scale, which is the OWL scale, OEAPDT. I just shouted out all the scores we could give it. So we start with the smell. So let's smell this book here.
I'm on page 283.
I'm on 349.
I'd give it an acceptable. It definitely has like some sort of smell to it, but it's nothing like crazy.
Yeah, I'd agree with acceptable. It's not a bad smell. It's not a good smell, but it has a smell.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It smells like something.
It does smell like something, and that something is all right, I guess. It's okay.
Yeah.
It smells like something that's all right. The size and proportions of this book, to me it's a pretty standard paperback book. It's not too tall, it's not too wide, it's not too thick. It just seems like it works. It's nothing spectacular. However, I think it is a little bit better than a standard size and proportions for a paperback. So I'm actually going to give it an E. Or exceeds expectations.
I was also going to give it exceeds expectations. I like how like stout the book is. I feel like it's like rather wide, which I feel like fit the proportions of it really well. So I would give it exceeds expectations. I like it.
Awesome. How it feels in your hands. It's a heavy book, actually, for being a paperback. It's pretty heavy. The paper is pretty thick. The spine bends pretty easily. Mine's been cracked, but there's lines on it, but it still looks pretty decent. Like, it holds its shape pretty well. So, like, it feels okay to read. It doesn't feel like you're breaking it in any way when you're reading this paperback book, which sometimes when you're reading a paperback, that does happen. So, I don't know. I'm going to give it I think I'm going to give it an E also for this. It just feels good. Like, if I open it to a page, it feels like a book that I could read. One-handed, I can do that too.
Yeah, I was also going to give it an exceeds expectations. I like, because of the thickness of it, I love how it just like kind of fits in my hand, just if I was walking around holding it. I love the texture of the cover. It's not exactly the buttery soft texture, but it's a really nice matte textured cover. Yeah. And it's also like not smudgy. It's just soft and very nice. And yeah, I like that you could kind of have this book open and you're not going to crack the spine. But it's not necessarily, I think because of its thickness, it's not one where you could like kind of wrap the cover around. You know what I mean? That's like like my favorite tell of like a paperback is when you can kind of like wrap it around a little bit. But no, I think I would give it exceeds expectations. I think it feels really nice.
Quality for me though is where like this book is cool. I don't think it's made great, but I also don't think it's bad. I'm gonna give it an acceptable. My book was from a library. It has a stamp in it. I got it from Terrell in our Discord actually, and she got it from a library or someone that got it from a library. I don't know. I'm not the first person to hold this book, but it's held up fine. I don't think it was made like the cover is, the corners are peeling just a little bit. There's cracks on the spine, but it's held up. It just doesn't look like it was made amazing to begin with. The print quality of the cover, it looks a little bit cheaper than some of the other paperback books that we have talked about. But that also could just be the style of the art that's on there, so I can't really tell. So I'm going to give it an A.
Oh my gosh, we're just on the same page today. No pun intended. I also would give it an A for quality. I feel like a lot of things on the jacket, it dings very easily. Like I have a pretty substantial ding in like the logo of mine, which is a real shame because, well, I'll talk about that later. I also have like a pretty big ding like in the back of my book. So I don't, mine's centered. Look at that. I don't know. I feel like, oh, this is so funny. Erik and I are looking at like our two books. His spine has like almost a pre-movie font and mine has like a movie font. And then my cover has a different logo from his logo. My J.K. Rowling is centered on my book. It's off-centered on his book. We have like two different little editions of this bad boy.
We do, which is
cool.
Interesting. How much is yours on the back?
72.
72.000. Mine's 48.
Weird. Is mine bigger than yours? I feel like mine is bigger than yours as well.
Might be. I don't know. They look similar. It seems like yours came out first.
Wait,
I think.
Hold yours. Can you hold yours next to like a standard Harry Potter book? Like just a hardcover MGP. Yeah, I think mine's bigger than yours, man.
Little bit, not by much though.
No, look how much mine is much bigger. I'm like holding it flush to the corner. Like look at how much of the logo mine covers up.
That's true. Yeah, yours is bigger. Weird. So mine must be like a later edition.
How cool is that? What a fun
super cool.
fun little discovery.
Discovery on air.
I love that. How cool. Super neat.
But not as neat as the cover art interpretation of cover art, which that's an O. I'm sorry. It is an O. It is an O. I love it. I feel like just the fact that clearly it's like similar to the Mary Grand Prix, right? Because it's that classic Harry and Hermione on Buckbeak riding the hippogriff. Like that is the iconic Prisoner of Azkaban cover. But this is so different from the Mary Grand Prix, and I love it. I love this cover. I would love to know more about this. So if you are listening and you have any information on this book, please get in touch with us. We would love to know more about this book because it's just so cool. I agree. And even the back cover with that like fire, but then you got the big shadow of the Grim, which is actually
I didn't even notice that.
Sirius Black on the wall. Like it's just really cool.
Super cool.
Although Harry looks pretty terrified on the cover and Hermione just looks like she's having a pretty good time.
She looks glammed. Like she looks like she's got a little like 80s blue eyeshadow on.
She does have some eyeshadow on. Well,
look at her.
You got to save the day. You got to look good.
You go, Hermione. Your blonde hair and red
first
lipstick.
First rule of time travel, make sure you got makeup on.
That's what they say.
That's what they say. X Factor, mine is going to be the unique art, and that's all I need to say because you get to talk about one that my book doesn't have, which I forgot about actually, that because I did see a picture of this before I bought it, and I was like, oh, maybe it's just not in the picture, but kind of cool that it's not on mine, but it is on yours. So what is it, Melanie?
The X Factor is the logo. The logo on mine is silver, and it's iridescent rainbow. So when you like hold the book back and forth, you can kind of see like that rainbow shine across the whole logo. It is so stinking cool. I love it. It's one of my favorite logos on any of these Harry Potter books. I feel like this one is really good. Indonesian is another like crazy awesome one. But this one always stands out as being such a good one. I love it so much.
But what about new Korean translation?
Hardcover.
Volumes 1 and 2.
Volumes
Hardcover.
1 and 2. Once we like stop recording, I'm gonna go grab that book and I'm gonna like go on a date with it so I can rediscover it, because you are so passionate about that book, and I feel like I just haven't gotten there with it yet, and I feel like I need to get there.
I got mine during the pandemic, so it was the friend I needed when we didn't have many among us.
Oh my gosh, you're so funny. It was the friend
But I do want to compare it to the anniversary Spanish book that just came out in Spain. I don't have that yet. I was gonna wait and order that when I got home, because I don't want a bunch of mail to arrive when I'm not here.
That book looks super nice.
So I'm gonna get one of those, I think.
Yeah, I get that. All right.
Because that looks shiny and sparkly. And I feel like these shiny, sparkly rainbow books are hard to photograph. So, the picture never really looks as good as it does in your hand. So,
well, this one is shimmery and shiny and lovely. I love it. Definitely my X Factor. This is such a good book.
This is a good book. And that was Vietnamese original cover art for Prisoner of Azkaban, the only one of the 1 through 7 that had original cover art. Why? I don't know.
Can I just say, like, does yours have the little flappies?
No, but mine does have that this book belongs to thing.
Oh, I do love that. So mine has little flappies on the front. What's so cute is like the first flap, it's books 1, 2, and 4, all Mary Grand Prix. And then on the back, it's books 5, 6, and 7, Mary Grand Prix. And then there's just this guy, just hanging.
It's like, hey, everybody, I'm here.
I'm here, and I'm me, and I'm different.
Oh, you need to do a TikTok. You don't have all 7 of these, do you?
No, I only have 1.
That needs to be 3. A TikTok like, I know you, I know you, I know you. Who are you? I don't know you.
That's like exactly right.
Are you supposed to be here? I sure am. Sure am. But speaking of supposed to be here, we can not be here because it is the time where we end the episode. And that was the worst transition ever, but we're going to roll with it anyway because it is time to say goodbye. So if you would like to get in touch with us, we are on all the places. Carly is on Instagram at All the Pretty Books. I am on Instagram at Nocturne Erik. And Melanie is on Instagram at The Harry Potter Collection. We have some great websites. I'll fire them off for you. alltheprettybooks.net, theharrypottercollection.com, and dialoguealley.com. You can find info on books on all those places. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. Melanie has a TikTok, Magically Melanie, which maybe there'll be a video coming soon about this book we talked about. Who knows? Maybe. We'll see.
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Wherever you're listening to this show, great, you found us. That's awesome. If you'd like to listen to us someplace else, we're on all the places. So if you have like an Alexa speaker at your house and you want to, throw our podcast on while you're doing the dishes or, scrubbing the floor, you can do that. You can also listen to us on any podcast app you can get on your phone while you're driving around town or on your computer or on your TV, Apple, Google, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart. We're on all the places. Another place that we are on is MuggleNet. So if you like Harry Potter stuff, MuggleNet has more Harry Potter stuff, and they have some cool content and cool other podcasts to check out. So we are a MuggleNet family podcast. We are so jazzed that we are on there, and really they have cool stuff. So if you're out of things to listen to, head on over. They got some great podcasts to check out. And lastly, you can also find us on Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/dialoguealley, you can support us even more so than you are already doing by listening to our show. For a small donation each month, depending on the tier you choose, you get access to some great perks, like access to our Discord, where you can learn more about translation collecting. You can meet some great people that already are in the throngs of translation collecting and can help you on your journey, and even just like sell you books for cheap that they have extra of. It's a good place. I really wish something like that existed when I started collecting translations. I know there's a couple people out there that I've recently come across on Instagram that are starting translation collecting, and they're like, hey, I'm here. I'm starting translation collecting. I'm like, oh man, like I know somewhere you can check out besides this podcast. Yep. Anyway, so I think with all that being said, I am so excited for the next episode after this, which is our 100th episode. So we'll be back for that one. But in the meantime, Melanie, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge about library edition.
Oh, it was my pleasure. No problem. Anytime. I'll talk books with you. How about like once every other week? We'll just sit and we'll talk books. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan.
I was gonna say,
all right.
Stan Shunpike. Get it?
Oh, you could have. That would have been great.
Sounds like a plan, Stan Shunpike.
Yeah, next time. I'll have to bring that back in a couple episodes. See if we remember.
All right. Well, stay tuned.
Anyway, so all that being said, it is time to walk back through the archway and into our daily lives. And we will catch you next time for the 100th episode
Woohoo!
of Dialogue Alley Podcast. Bye, everyone.
See ya!